We're sitting here at Blues Fest, Byron Bay. Mr. Warren Haynes, it's an honour to have you here.
My pleasure.
And you're in some good company, and many people who you've played with over the years. Is it a bit of a reunion?
Yeah, it has been a reunion of sorts. I've run into a lot of friends, some that are playing, some that are just hanging out, and really cool. It's great to be this far away from home and know so many people.
Yes. It's always nice to feel at home away from home.
Yeah.
And how long has it been since you were last in Australia?
2000, I was in Byron Bay, and that was my first time. So this is my second time in Australia, and I want to come back more often. So maybe next year Government Mule can come back or something.
Well, you just released you're just about to, in about a week and a half,
right.
your second solo album.
Yeah.
A long time in the making.
Well, I've been quite busy between Government Mule and the Allman Brothers and the Dead and all the different projects. Made a lot of records since then, but just no solo records. And I kind of felt like the time was right to make another solo record. And I'd written a lot of songs that seemed to work together but didn't seem like Government Mule songs. So I thought it'd be nice to have Government Mule take a little break and pursue this for a while, and then we'll get Government Mule back together and start working on some new music probably end of the year or so.
Yeah, well, Government Mule have been busy over the last couple of years. You had the album in 09 and pretty extensive touring after that.
Yeah, we promoted the new record for about 16 months, and then we figured, okay, we pretty much run our course, we'll take a little time away.
And can you tell us a little bit about Man in Motion? I know that you've got quite an ensemble behind you for it.
Well, the music is, it's all original music, but it harkens back to my earliest influence, which is soul music in the late 60s, early 70s, combined with blues of like B.B. King, Albert King, and Freddie King. It's not a rock and roll record, so I put together this band that I thought would be best to interpret the music. George Porter on bass, Ivan Neville on keyboards, Ian McLaughlin also on keyboards, Ruthie Foster and Ivan doing all the background vocals, Raymond Weber playing drums, Ron Holloway playing saxophone. It was really just my wish list of the people that I wanted to make the record with, and thankfully everyone was available. So we went to Austin, Texas at Willie Nelson's studio, and we were there about 6 days and just kind of banged it out.
And is the whole band with you down here?
About half the band is here, and I put together a band that's partially the studio band and partially some new faces as well. Some of the guys are touring on their own, so it's hard to get everybody in the same place at the same time.
I don't think I saw her on the stage, but Ruthie is in town at the moment.
Ruthie was here, she was in New Zealand day before yesterday, but I think she's back in Texas by now. Originally she was going to appear with me here, but I think she decided that she was halfway home and it would be nice to just go the rest of the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, and she performed with Eric Bibb, and that was the other day, and that was one of those kind of festival moments, which was great.
I wish I'd seen that. We were, I think, in Sydney when that was going on. But Ruthie, is an amazing singer, and Ivan Neville is an amazing singer. So having the two of them sing together with me on the new record was really wonderful. I had this notion that our three voices would blend together really great, and it turned out to be true. I had sung with Ruthie and I had sung with Ivan, but never the three of us together until we got in the studio, and it really turned out great.
It was great to hear you singing as well and jamming out. It was a great set last night.
Thank you.
And it looked like you were having fun up there too.
Well, I started singing before I started playing guitar, so this goes back, as I mentioned, to my earliest influences. Before I ever heard rock and roll music, my first hero was James Brown, then Wilson Pickett and Otis Redding, and Otis Redding's probably still my favorite singer. So that's how I learned to sing, was from listening to soul singers before I ever heard Hendrix or Cream or anything that wanted me to just inspire me to play guitar. Once I heard that music, I thought, well, I'm not going to stop singing, but now I got to start playing guitar too.
Well, it was an absolute joy to have you here, and now I know Derek Trucks was here as well. Did you see him while you were here?
I saw him in Sydney. I actually joined him on stage for his show in Sydney, and then we crossed paths and they went home and we're still here. But we just finished playing together in the States right before we both came here. So we've been seeing a lot of each other.
And you were talking about Man in Motion, and how far back do some of those songs go?
3 of the songs are 10 years or older, but most of them are written in the past 3 years or so. I did go back through some of my catalog and dust off a few songs that I've always wanted to record but never had, and they seem to work really great for this record. But I like the fact that most of the songs are written together.
Well, it's I can't wait to hear it properly, and it's an absolute pleasure to meet you. And I actually discovered you. I mean, obviously I'd heard the Dead and I'd heard the Allman Brothers Band, but I was introduced to you through the Dave Matthews Band. Do you hear that? I imagine you've heard that before.
Absolutely. It's funny because I'm involved in so many different projects. Sometimes someone discovers my music through one or the other, and maybe they're not familiar with some of the others. I had a kid stop me on the street in New York City and go, "Are you Warren Haynes?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I saw you play with Dave Matthews at Madison Square Garden." But he had never heard the Allman Brothers. He'd never heard the Dead. He'd never heard Government Mule. He was just a Dave Matthews fan. And of course, I've known Dave and those guys since 1991. So that's a long time, 20 years. And they're great folks, and we've made a lot of great music together through the years. And they just released an archival release from Wetlands, the small club in New York City, when they first came to New York, and I had appeared on that. So that's how far back we go.
Wow.
We're good friends for a long time.
I mean, they've sort of revolutionized the idea of releasing 100 live albums and that.
Yeah, and there's a community in the States of bands that do that play a different set list every night, that make all the shows available to the public.
And you do that as well with
We
Government
do that with
Mule.
Government Mule. We have a website called muletracks.com where you can basically download any show we've done since 2004. And it works out to be great. We've sold millions of downloads, and I think it only works for people that do a different set list every night, But for us, it makes sense.
It helps having as many albums as you do.
Yeah, and you know what? And between all the original material and all the cover songs, it's literally hundreds of songs. So, over the course of a Government Mule tour, we might play 150 different songs. But that keeps us fresh, keeps us excited.
Well, thank you for your time today, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your night here. And we look forward to hopefully seeing you sooner than 11 years to get back here.
Hopefully next year. Thank you.
Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
Absolute pleasure.
I had a great time.